Hello lovelies, I'm Maddie and today we're going to be talking about Fruits Basket Volume 8. Alright, so today we're going to be talking about Fruits Basket's Collector's Edition at Volume 8. So that covers chapters, I think, 84 to 95. If that's correct, it'll be in the title somewhere. Okay, so it goes without saying, but there are going to be spoilers for what happens in this volume. So if you haven't read that volume, definitely go read that first and then come back and watch this. If you're here because you want to know if Fruits Basket is worth reading, I can tell you that it is, and you should. But if you're looking for a full review of the whole series, I'll be doing that after I finish reading the series. So this volume starts off where the other one left off, where Yuki is talking to Kakeru and reflecting back on his childhood with Akito. You get to see throughout the chapter what it was like for Yuki growing up with Akito and how he was Akito's favourite, and because of that his mother basically gave him over to Akito and then never saw him again and never really cared about him after that. She basically only liked him because he was the chosen one, which is really unfortunate. You also get to see the emotional trauma and like horrible things that Akito would say and do to Yuki, and that made him the way that he is now, which is it's a very sad story. Well, most of what's in Fruits Basket is sad, to be honest. But but you also get to see where the turmoil between Yuki and Kyo sort of began in childhood, and that Kyo has always had this misconception that Yuki was the chosen one, and that he was not only loved by Akito and accepted as a member of the Zodiac, but that his parents loved him and cared for him, and that he had a perfect life, which obviously wasn't true. But Yuki has never taken the opportunity to tell Kyo that. After that, you get to see Yuki talking with Kakeru, and he admits to Kakeru that he sees that he's been using Toru as a mother figure, and that he cares about her, but he doesn't care about her in a romantic way. He wants her in his life as someone who is caring and supportive and sees her like a mum. Kakeru doesn't really believe this at first and sort of questions whether or not it's because he is frightened that perhaps she would like Kyo better than him, but he makes it very clear that he doesn't have romantic feelings for Toru. And I think it's implied that Kyo may have overheard. I'm not really sure. There was a very brief moment where Kyo was seen at the end of that chapter, and if I recall correctly, and I don't really know if he heard or not. I suppose we'll see in the future. In the chapters that follow, you see the characters put on a play for their school festival called Cinderella-ish. Very weird take on Cinderella, but yeah. But a lot of revelations come to light as people's emotions get the better of them while they're performing, and you get to see that Kyo's feelings for Toru developing, and these cute little moments of embarrassment between him and her, and it's just adorable. You also get to see Uotani have an outburst about how much she misses Kureno and how much she would like to see Kureno again, and I really hope that she gets to. After the play, we also get to see Hanajima flirting with Kyo's master, which is kind of funny, and then Kyo just freaks out at the idea of him and his master getting together with Hanajima and her being his new mum, and it's kind of funny. Those chapters are then followed up by chapters 90 through 93, where Kyo reflects back on the time that he met Kyoko Honda when he was a child, and how she told him the story of how she met her husband Tatsuya. So Kyoko tells Kyo that when she was young, she was a gangster, and she was part of gangs and didn't go to school and acted up at home and did all this bad stuff until she met Tatsuya, who was a student teacher at her high school. Despite their age difference, they met and they fell in love, and she felt that Tatsuya was one of the few people that really understood her and that was really there and for her and loved her for who she was. And you get to see that he's very supportive through everything, and when she finds out that they're going to have a baby, she freaks out, but you can see that he is so supportive, and then after the baby comes, which is Toru, you get to see how much of a loving father he was during the time that he was with her. Now, going into these few chapters, I obviously knew how this story was going to end, because Toru states at the beginning that her father passed away when she was young. But oh boy, I was not prepared either way. Despite knowing that, within these few chapters, you become so invested in this story and these characters, despite the fact they're not even part of the main cast. And yeah, was so emotional, these chapters. I was literally bawling my eyes out, especially when it gets to the later part of it where Tatsuya passes away of pneumonia, and you get to see Kyoko struggle through this trauma and this grief, and how this grief basically consumed her for a period where she didn't feel that life was even worth living. And if anyone's ever lost someone, like, I'm sure you understand just how painful that grief can be. And I think this is a very good and real representation of how much grief can consume you, and how it can make you forget whether or not you're even taking care of your child, which is what happened. She didn't remember if she had been taking care of Toru. She didn't remember, and when it finally occurred to her that she still had someone, she still had a piece of Tatsuya left in her daughter, she dedicated herself to being a better mother, and it was just absolutely beautiful, these chapters. I love them so. These are some of my favourite chapters so far, and I think some of the most emotional chapters so far. And I really enjoyed them. After this, we're sort of going to some less intense chapters where we sort of see about Machi on the student council and her childhood. Obviously, she doesn't have a very good story either. But you get to see how she had to be so perfect all the time as a child, and how that affected her, and how she's no longer living at home because she was kicked out. It doesn't really explore too much into detail at this moment about that. But you also get to see her have some very cute moments with Yuki. I think there might be a little something between them. I'm not really sure. I haven't really read much further than this at the moment. I've only read halfway through the next volume, but I'm hopeful. And the final chapter is about New Year's. So for New Year's, Yuki decides that he's going to go home to be part of the family banquet, as he wasn't the year before. And Toru and Kyo go to Kyo's master's house for New Year's with Isuzu-san. Not much happens there. There are some cute moments between Kyo and Toru, and some little tidbits of information about Kyo and his childhood and how he didn't really get along with Isuzu-san, but it doesn't really explore it too much. As for the Soma family banquet, you get to see Yuki and Akito have this moment where they're talking together, and Yuki tells Akito that he forgives him for what he did, and that he's not going to blame him anymore for the trauma that he suffered. And I thought that it was going to be this nice moment between them, and was very shocked when all of a sudden Akito turned around and attacked Yuki. But there seemed to be a little flashback in between there. Akito was thinking of something else, someone leaving. And I'm very interested to see what that's about. Overall, though, this chapter was an absolute roller coaster of emotions, and I am so happy I got to read it, and I can't wait to read more. I really can't wait to read more. If you've read this far, let me know what you thought about this particular volume and the revelations about it. Please don't leave any spoilers for future volumes. I'm very much looking forward to reading them, and I don't want spoilers. I've tried my best to avoid as many spoilers as possible, because I've waited so long to read this series, because I just love it so much. But thank you if you stuck around to the end. Let me know down below what you thought of this volume. Let me know down below if you would like to see more videos like this, where I do an overview of volumes. I do have some planned. I also have a manga collection coming out in the future, and a September haul video. So if you're interested in seeing those, please subscribe and like this video to let me know that you're interested in seeing more content. If you have any anime or manga recommendations for me, or recommendations for future videos, let me know down below in the comment section, and I'll hope to see you guys here again soon. Bye!